Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about a drama thriller film called The Wonder from 2022. Enjoy your viewing. The voiceover invites the viewer to believe in what they are about to see. It is 1862, Ireland, where the main character, Nurse Elizabeth Wright, is traveling. She arrives at the pub, where she is already waiting. She talks about Anna, a girl from the O'Donnell family, for whose sake the nurse came here. She will share the room with a nun who will arrive soon. In the morning, at breakfast, the girls ask if the nurse will experiment on Anna. The heroine is invited to the town council without even being allowed to have breakfast. In addition to the elders, a nun is waiting there, and they discuss Anna's case. It turns out that the child has been without food for 4 months. The respected men tend to see this as either a miracle or a deception, which is actually to be found out during the 2-week supervision of the nurse and the nun. The conditions are as follows. Work for 8 hours, the observers do not communicate with each other, and at the end they will testify separately. The heroine and the doctor travel through the Irish countryside to the girl's house. Upon arrival, Elizabeth asks the mother about her daughter, taking notes. Anna herself is visited by pilgrims who want to touch the miracle. When they leave, the nurse goes up to the 2nd floor, where the girl is praying fervently. After greeting them, the heroine conducts an initial examination, but finds no visible abnormalities or disorders. The girl looks quite healthy and declares that she eats the air of heaven. At lunch, while everyone is eating, Anna just sits next to them. During the conversation, Elizabeth confesses that she is a widow and says that this is her pseudonym, Black Widow No. 2. After that, the heroine watches the girl pray until it's time to leave. When the nurse returns to the tavern, she expresses her doubts to the owner. It seems to her that Anna is being fed secretly. He agrees and asks her to prove the deception. Before going to bed, Elizabeth looks at the little baby's socks and drinks a spoonful of red tincture from a secret bottle, which makes her mind sink into pleasure. Arriving at work in the morning, the heroine notices a posthumous photograph of the owner's son, with his eyes painted on. When Anna goes for a walk, the nurse constantly follows her, keeping a close eye on the purity of the experiment. In the process, the woman offers the girl a drink of water, and she does not refuse. After that, Elizabeth checks the room to see if there are any sweets hidden somewhere. Along the way, Anna talks about the saints she prays to, noting that anyone can be inspired by God's grace. Later, a photographer visits the O'Donnells to capture the miracle girl. Returning to the village with the doctor, Elizabeth discusses fantastic theories about a life-giving energy that people have not yet discovered. Perhaps Anna is using this energy, but the heroine is more concerned about the regular visitors, pilgrims, who prevent her from conducting a serious study of the phenomenon. During lunch, Elizabeth is approached by journalist Will Byrne, who has come to interview Anna. The nurse says that her doctor has forbidden her to receive visitors. Accusing the journalist of an information crime, the woman leaves, but a question follows. How much was she promised to be paid for her work? When Elizabeth returns to the O'Donnells, she asks what Anna's last meal was. The older sister Kitty tells her that she ate the Savior's body on the day of her first communion. At work, the nurse exchanges a few words with the nun about the lamp and its conditions. When the protagonist wants to know if there was anything strange, the nun reminds her that they are not allowed to consult. During her night shift, the nurse continues to examine the things on Anna's desk. Inside one of the statuettes, she finds a cavity where a piece of hair wrapped in a piece of paper is kept. In the morning, the woman says that she accidentally dropped the statuette and found the hair, which belongs to the girl's dead brother. Returning to the inn, the heroine takes the tincture again, diluting it with a drop of her own blood from her pierced finger. During her next shift at work, Elizabeth again asks her colleague a tricky question. During the examination, Anna asks the nurse about the Crimean War, during which she was a nurse. In response to the story of dying soldiers, the girl says that souls in purgatory burn to be purified, and sinners will burn in hell forever. These revelations make the heroine think on the way to the village. The burden on the heroine's soul intensifies after she meets a journalist, Mr. Byrne, who gets down from his horse and joins her. During a casual conversation, the man gathers information, in particular about who might benefit from what is happening. Byrne assumes that it is all a carefully planned fraud, but Elizabeth has no proof of this. After thinking about the recent events over dinner, the nurse decides to set new rules, and from now on, no one can touch the girl except her and the nun. This will help avoid suspicions of secretly feeding the child. However, even after that, the heroine does not find peace of mind, continuing to doubt the nature of Anna's mysterious diet. During their next meeting, Byrne adds fuel to the fire of her internal doubts. The journalist asks to arrange a meeting with the girl, assuring her that he can get a confession out of her in 10 minutes. Elizabeth refuses, believing that the ban on the girl's contact with her family will be enough to expose the deception. When Elizabeth returns from her walk, she sees a priest in the house. Father Tadeusz is concerned that the mother is forbidden to approach her daughter. The nurse reminds her that her task is to observe carefully and impartially, not to cater to the whims of the locals. The observation is accompanied by periodic examinations, and all the indicators are recorded in a notebook. During the next checkup, she notices that Anna's tooth has fallen out. On the way to the village, Kitty asks me to say hello to Will Byrne. They were friends in childhood until he left to study. On the way, the girl tells the story of his parents' death from starvation because they barricaded the house from the inside. This story makes Elizabeth look at the journalist in a different way, which does not escape his attention. He catches up with her to ask about what happened, and the conversation turns to a personal topic. After that, Elizabeth talks about her child, who died after birth. After that, her husband left her. During their next walk, the heroine asks Anna how many times a day she prays. She replies that it is 33, the number of years that Jesus lived. They meet Will Byrne. The journalist accompanies them to his house, entertaining them with various riddles. Without asking about the hunger strike, Byrne gives the girl a toy with a bird in a cage, letting her decide for herself whether it is free or caged. While Anna's older sister reads her a book under the supervision of a nun, Elizabeth talks to her parents. She notes that the girl is getting weaker and asks them to feed her, but the parents swear that they will not insist on it. Then the nurse goes to the doctor to discuss the problem, but he is in no hurry to dismiss even the most fantastic versions, such as solar power. The man ignores her warnings and orders her to continue the observation without intervention. Disappointed, Elizabeth takes the tincture again. While on duty at the bedside of the girl, who now does not even get up, the nurse collects her thoughts. She goes downstairs and asks for something to eat. She is given a bowl of soup, with which she goes upstairs to force-feed Anna through the tube, despite her active resistance. At the last moment, however, she changes her mind and pulls the tube out of her throat. While walking with Byrne and Elizabeth, Anna feels sick. The nurse wants to take her home, but she insists that she has something to show them. They go to a spring, which according to local beliefs has healing powers. Unnoticed, Will tells the heroine that he has sent an article that will show everyone how the girl is being starved to death. He suggests that she convince the city council to stop the surveillance. Suddenly, Anna faints. Byrne carries her home in his arms, letting her go only at the doorstep. After tucking her daughter into bed, the worried mother asks if she needs to bring her something, hinting at food. But Anna asks to sleep. The girl's condition is deteriorating. She is too weak to walk and spends most of her time either in bed or in a chair. Elizabeth finds it increasingly difficult to observe. She is struck with a sudden idea and hurriedly goes to the girl, replacing the nun at work early. She asks what Anna meant by the manna of heaven, and then assumes that her mother kissed her before bedtime and fed her chewed food from mouth to mouth. Under pressure from logical conclusions, the girl confesses that this was their secret. The nurse insists that she needs to start eating normally, but Anna refuses. Then the heroine even agrees to make sure that her mother kisses her again before bedtime, but the girl stubbornly refuses and starts praying. She explains that she must fast and say a prayer, and then the soul of her dead brother will be released from hell. Wondering what the young boy had done to get into hell, Elizabeth learns another terrible secret. Anna, at the age of 9, was taken by force by her own brother, more than once. When he fell ill and died, her mother blamed her daughter. Stunned by these confessions, Elizabeth returns to the village. She doesn't know what to do in this situation, and suffers moral anguish along with Byrne. Having made a decision, she gathers the town council to tell part of the truth. Her mother fed Anna until she was forbidden to come near her, and now the girl is dying of hunger. The nurse asks to stop the observation. However, the honorable men, unwilling to part with the local landmark, question the heroine's testimony. They accuse her of improperly fulfilling the conditions of her supervision. In particular, they reproach her for seeing Anna, as if this fact had any significance for what was happening. The nun, who is asked to confirm the testimony, says that she did not see the mother feeding the girl in a bird's-eye way. In order to finally remove suspicions, the council summons Anna. The girl is wheeled in on a chair by her mother and sister, and the men ask if she has eaten anything in the last 4 months. Looking at Elizabeth, the girl repeats, "Manna from heaven." This is enough to make the decision to continue the supervision. Looking into the eyes of her stubborn mother, Elizabeth confirms that she will continue the observation until Anna's death. Father Tadeusz caringly offers to pray for the girl's recovery. Devastated by the futile struggle, the nurse returns to the O'Donnell home. Anna is sick with hunger. The heroine states once again that the girl is dying, but her mother stubbornly calls her the chosen one. Elizabeth asks the woman to kiss her daughter goodnight or in the morning, but she refuses, convinced that Anne will have eternal life in paradise. Then the heroine comes up with a new plan. Together with Byrne, she wants to take the girl away from the family, because even the mother does not need her to survive. But the journalist believes that she does not understand the local Irish traditions and is not eager to interfere in the affairs of another family, especially since it would be technically a kidnapping. After waiting for everyone to go to prayer, Elizabeth wakes up the exhausted girl, saying that Anna will soon die and go to God, and that another girl will wake up instead. The nurse drags the child along a dirt road to a sacred spring. After waiting for her to fall asleep, the heroine tries to wake her up, calling her by her new name, Nan, and she opens her eyes. Elizabeth feeds the girl specially prepared soaked bread. Returning to the O'Donnell home, the nurse spills the oil, breaks the bottle of tincture, and leaves the baby's socks behind. Setting the oil on fire, she watches the fire spread through the room, consuming everything around her. When the flames reach the roof, Elizabeth runs outside. In the next scene, she hands the council members a notebook with notes about Anna's death. But the men are interested in the cause of the fire. The nurse writes it off as an accident while trying to resuscitate the patient. The men are satisfied with this because the place can be turned into a shrine, the first since the Middle Ages, but without proof it is not so easy. Elizabeth is accused of arson and ordered to stay in the village until the authorities investigate. Her supervision fee is cancelled. The nun bandages her burned hands and tells her about a recent vision. An angel on a horse was taking Anna away. Realizing that it was the nurse who arranged it, the nun asks if the girl will go to a better place than this god-forsaken village, and receives an affirmative answer. Kitty reads in the newspaper that Anna was declared dead without any remains being found. No one has been charged. Not the parents, not the doctor, not the city council, who allowed the child to starve to death. Elizabeth looks out the window at the funeral procession with the empty coffin. Soon, she is allowed to leave, kindly accompanied by a farewell. When she reaches the big city, she looks for the street and sees a girl in the window, Nan, formerly known as Anna. After taking a family photo of the three of them with Byrne, the characters board a steamer under assumed names and head to Sydney, the capital of Australia. In the final scene, during lunch on the ship, Nan is reluctant to eat. The camera circles back to the set with Kitty standing among the sets, and she says to the camera, "Is she free or in jail?" If you have watched the video so far, you should know that I am happy to have viewers like you. Thank you for watching to the end. Subscribe to the channel and follow the news. Klonsak Recapped was with you. See you soon.